So you think about buying that Porsche sports car. Maybe it's your dream car, or maybe you just want to have some fun over the summer coming up. Well, today I'm going to go over 6 things you should know before buying a Porsche 718 Cayman, 718 Boxster, or any Porsche sports car model. Hope you guys do find this video helpful and enjoy the video. Now this video isn't just for the car behind me. This video is going to be a buyer's guide on all mainly different Porsche models, because I'm going to talk about things that are very similar to other models except the maintenance. The maintenance is going to be the main difference between whatever model of Porsche sports car you're going to be buying. So I'll get to that when I get to the maintenance part. But first, let's talk about the car behind me that I'm going to be using as an example. This is the car I'm actually using it as an example. This is a 2017 Porsche 718 Boxster, and the owner of this car actually used most of the steps I'm going to tell you in this video, and they found their perfect Porsche. So all the steps I'm going to tell you in this video is going to help you find your perfect Porsche sports car, whether that's a 911, whether that's a 718 Boxster, a 718 Cayman, a 911 GT3, GT2, etc. All these steps really do help, and the owner really did a lot of these steps to help find their sports car. So it is a 2017 Boxster, and I believe the color of this car is like their jet black. So it's not their base black; it's like a jet black with black Carrera S wheels, red brake calipers. And if I open it up here with the key, where is it? It's in my pocket. No keyless entry, unfortunately. You can see with a black interior. Take a look at that. But anyways, that is the car that I'm using as an example. And let's start off with the first important thing before you even consider buying a car, and that is deciding between a brand new car or buying a used car. Now comes the age-old question. Again, the first thing you're going to have to consider before buying a Porsche. Do you go brand new, or do you go off and buy a used one? Now, there are definitely pros and cons to both of them. With a brand new car, you get a 0-mile car that no one else has driven. There's no wear and tear on it. No one else has driven it. No maintenance has gone on to it. It's a brand new car straight from a Porsche factory to the Porsche dealer. Or you can go off and buy a used one which has some mileage, like this one, and maybe it's a couple years old, but it has some wear and tear, as I said, and maybe 1 or 2 owners have owned the car. However, you get a much cheaper car for the price instead of buying a brand new car, because those are really expensive. Now, if you're a first-time Porsche buyer, I want to give you my opinion. If you already have owned multiple Porsches, then you guys already know what to do. But for the people that haven't bought a Porsche before, this is going to be your first Porsche, like this owner of this car, I'm going to give you, obviously, my opinion. I 100% highly recommend going with a used one. If you already decided that you're a first-time Porsche owner and you can afford to go off and buy a brand new one, you can go and do that. Go to your nearest Porsche dealer and go find the one you like. However, if you want to buy a used one and save some money, or if you are considering, or if you're deciding, I don't know what to buy, a new one or a used one, I'm really torn between which one, I highly recommend going used for a couple of reasons. One is that Porsches, some Porsches do depreciate a lot, so with very, very little mileage on them, so you can definitely save some money. And number 2 is that with these cars, most of these cars have not been driven that much. Some of them maybe maybe less than 10,000 miles for a 3-year-old car. So going used, in my opinion, is the way to go. You save some money, and yes, some people, maybe a person or 2 people have owned it before, but you save a lot of money on the Porsche sports car, your dream Porsche sports car. However, if you are considering buying used, there are a couple of things you do need to know if you are considering a used one. Second thing you need to know before buying your dream Porsche sports car, whether that's a 911, 718, etc., is where the car is located. Now, there are mainly 2 answers for this, right? It's either located at a Porsche dealership, it's either located at another dealership, or it's located at a third-party dealership. An example of another dealership is, for example, if there's a Porsche at an Audi dealership, for example, or if there's a Porsche at a third-party dealership, like some Porsche dealership that isn't a Porsche dealership, or maybe an exotic motor cars place or something like that that has this car. There are different approaches to actually buying the car from those dealerships. For a Porsche dealership, it's for example, a Porsche dealership, buying a car from a Porsche dealership is way different than buying a car from a third-party dealership, because there's some extra steps involved, and I'm going to go over all those extra steps for you now so you don't have to. Now I'm going to start off the easiest way, then go over to the most steps route. So let's start off with the simplest way, right? You go online on either Auto Tempest or Auto Trader or Car Gurus, and you find your dream Porsche 911, for example. This is a 718, but we'll just say you find your dream 911. It's located at your local Porsche dealership, so you call them, make sure the car is available, then you go in, look at the car, and then decide if you want to buy it or not. That's mainly the simplest part, because there's no pre-purchase inspection involved, because you are buying it from the dealership. It's either a certified pre-owned, or it's a brand, or it is a used car. And every single car they get from the Porsche dealership into the Porsche dealership is either certified pre-owned, or most of the time it is certified pre-owned. So they already did the pre-purchase inspection for you, so you don't have to do it. That's what a certified pre-owned means. They certify it, so they check in the entirety of the car, make sure it has no, the tires are not bald, the wheels aren't scratched, the paint is in good, decent shape. So that's mainly the simplest way, is buying a certified pre-owned one from a Porsche dealership. However, since these cars are such low production, that may not happen. Usually it's a rare occurrence like this one to even come to a Porsche dealership. So the second option is to go to another dealership, whether that's an Audi dealership or a BMW dealership or a Mercedes dealership or whatever type of car dealership, and go and find one. Maybe they got it on trade, or maybe they got it from some auction. That's when the pre-purchase inspection comes in. I cannot stress how much a pre-purchase inspection matters, and I'm going to put my foot down on that one. I can't express how much it matters, and how much people have said, oh, you don't need a pre-purchase inspection. It matters, and I highly, highly recommend it. It is 100% required, even though it may not look required. It is required. Now, maybe asking yourself, what is a pre-purchase inspection? Well, I'm going to tell you that. A pre-purchase inspection is basically you take the car to some Porsche mechanic or Porsche dealership, and they check the car out for you to see what the past history is like, and what the car's life has been, and what sort of maintenance has gone through it. For example, has the owner did all the necessary 10 and 20,000 mile maintenance for the car? Has the car ever been in an accident? Has the car had any engine parts changed? They can tell that just through all their computers and everything. So they go around, check the car, make sure, like, check the bumpers, check the wheels, check the engine, check the oil, check all the fluids, to make sure it's a perfect car to buy. And this is important because you don't want to go and buy a Porsche that's been maintained really, really badly, and it's going to cost you thousands of dollars in the end. No one wants that, especially in a car like this. You want to make sure it's the perfect car and make sure it's been maintained perfectly. And I'm going to give you an example of how a pre-purchase inspection saved someone from buying a car like this. Now, here's an example of how a pre-purchase inspection mainly just saved someone from buying a faulty Porsche. I'm always going to tell everyone this example of a pre-purchase inspection, but I'll give you this one. My grandfather has always wanted another Porsche. He owned a Porsche 912 back when my mom was actually a little kid, and he wanted another one. So I was like I was going to different Porsche dealerships, going to look at different cars with him, and so he can find his dream Porsche again. He was looking at multiple Boxsters, and he came across a 99 Porsche Boxster with very low mileage, and the car looked great. Body was in good shape, wheels were in good shape, everything was in really good shape. However, until he took it to a Porsche mechanic and got a pre-purchase inspection done, he found out the car's engine was flooded at one point. So he never actually bought that one. And again, since the Boxsters and the 911s have the engine in the back, you can't visually see it. You have to take a lot of things apart and look at it, which is why pre-purchase inspection is so important. So if you are again, I'm going to repeat this again. If you're buying from a third-party dealership or another dealership that is not a Porsche dealership, you need a pre-purchase inspection. If you found the car at a Porsche dealership like this one, you do not need a pre-purchase inspection. They already done it for you. Now, the fourth thing you should do before you buy your dream Porsche is to go and check the Carfax. Basically, every dealership listing, whether it's a Porsche dealership or some other dealership or a third-party dealership, has the Carfax already bought for you. Usually you have to buy the Carfax, but it's already there for you because I think it's like the dealership law or something like that. But anyways, take 5 to 7 minutes and look through the Carfax really thoroughly and check all the places. Usually the Carfax shows where the car is maintained and what happened to the car in its life, whether it's been in an accident or something kind of like that. So for example, this car right here, the owner of this car looked at the Carfax and found out that this Carfax showed that it was all maintained at Porsche dealerships or Porsche certified mechanics. If the car has not been made, if you're unfamiliar with a place before, make sure you go and check out the Carfax and look at all the shops that are listed there. If you're unsure about a shop, call them and ask about what they did to the car. Usually if you look up the VIN number, which is also on the Carfax, and tell them what they did to the car, they can tell you what they did to the car and if they use OEM parts or not, so if you know it's safe or not to buy it. This car was all was all maintained at Porsche certified mechanics and Porsche dealerships. As well as this car's Carfax also showed this car was rear-ended at one point, very minorly. It was probably just some tap, and so when the person went to go look at the car, they noticed, they took a look at the car, make sure that the repair shop, the Porsche certified repair shop, repaired the car properly. So if all those things check out, all of them look good to go, the Carfax is good, it's been certified, it's been serviced at good dealerships. If all those things I said check out and they're all good to go, you can go and look at your dream Porsche. So you get to the dealership, and what you want to do is go walk around the car, just taking a look at the things, how good the paint condition is, if there's any curb rash on the wheels, and how good the interior looks. For example, the car is locked. How good the interior looks, how good the exterior looks. So you want to check out the seats, if there's any wear on them, especially on the driver's seat, because that is the seat that is most satin when you drive the car. Make sure that there's not excess wear. This type of wear on this seat is pretty normal for a car with only 20,000 miles on it. However, you want to make sure that everything checks out, all the electronics work, and you also want to take it on a test drive. Make sure everything works, and on that test drive, park on the side of the road and look around the car, because usually they pressure you and say, oh, what are you looking at, type of thing. You want to take a look at the car and make sure how good the paint is, and that's what this owner did as well. When this owner drove it on a sunny day and had the sunshine on the paint, you can clearly see on camera all the scratches in the black paint here. There's one right there. There's a lot of scratches in the door. There's this ding in the side skirt, and you can see all these scratches on the paint. Over here as well, you can see there's a lot of scratches on the wing. The sun isn't really shining on this owner's car, as well as you can see if there's any dents in the car. You can see right here, you can see the light for the dents right there, and there's one up front. There's a couple up front here, and as well as with the wheels, make sure the wheels aren't damaged. So note of any damage on the car, because if there is any damage, you're going to want to use it as their defense to get a lower price on the car, and that's what this owner did. So you can see all the scratches on the car. This owner used that as a defense to get the price lower on the car. Again, it's going to be really hard to find a used Porsche that's actually not going to have any scratches on it, especially a black one, because the black shows basically all the scratches. So most cars usually have all this wear and tear, kind of like up here. That's definitely a clear one. You can see that one. But yeah, that's definitely something that's all wear and tear. It's all use of it, especially since this car lived in New York City before the owner bought it. So that's also something you're gonna have to take into some consideration when you use this to your defense. There's some on the hood there. So yeah, I know that, yeah, they did. There's a lot of scratches. And however, the wheels in this car are not curved. They are perfectly fine, and the owner knows that. So that's something that you want to use as your defense. And if everything checks out the car, if it's ever been an accident, check how well the repair shop did it. And if it all checks out, then you can go on to the final thing, and that is buying the car. And then finally, maintenance. Now, before I talk about buying, I do want to go over maintenance really quickly, because that is something different compared to what your car. For example, this 718 Boxster here has different maintenance records compared to you're buying a 911, because they're two different engines. The 718 Boxster in Cayman uses a Boxer engine out of a Subaru WRX, and which is basically a very similar engine, and the 911 uses a flat 6. So the engines are very different, which means maintenance is also very different. You want to make sure that all the maintenance has gone done on the car. Make sure that they're OEM parts. And if they're not OEM parts, you're gonna need to check if they used OEM parts. You're gonna want to also check the research on how much it costs to maintain something like this. For this, it's around $700 a month. So, for example, our Audi is around $700 a month. This owner's is around $700 a month, which again, it isn't really that bad. Maintenance, or maybe it's $700 a year. I'm actually not too sure, to be honest. But yeah, you want to check on the maintenance. Maintenance is definitely very, very, very important before you buy something like this. Let's get on to when you buy the car. Now, when you go to the dealership, you want to express everything that needs to be done to the car to get it up to your satisfaction. So let's say, for example, this car, the owner of this car listed it at around $55,000. That is a pretty good deal for a car that only has 19,000 miles on it. However, the owner noted that it has all these scratches and little tiny dings in it that need to get a little bit of popped out. So, that need to get fixed. So obviously, paint correction, that costs around $1,800, and to get the film to fix all the rock chips, obviously that's gonna need some consideration. So the owner got this car lower than $55,000. If to be exact, around $53,000, $54,000. So that's actually a pretty good price for something like this. So that is mainly 6 or 7 things you need to know before you're buying a 718 Boxster or any Porsche sports car. I really do hope this video helped you guys, or any new Porsche owners out there. And I highly recommend, if you are getting a Porsche, I highly recommend joining the PCA. They have events like Cars and Coffee, Autocross, stuff like that. But anyways, hope you guys did enjoy this video, and thank you to this owner for letting me use your 718 Boxster. And I hope you guys found this video helpful. Comment down below if you found this video helpful. Really much appreciated. Subscribe if you are new. Let's try to see if we get to 300 subscribers. That would be awesome. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.